hear you.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Nice. I'm happy to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we know a lot of the same people, but just never got a chance to do a face-to-face, so that's nice. I see you've got a love of animals like I do.
Yeah, we've got some cats in here.
We got 3 cats and a dog here and a bunch of fish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, welcome to Crayonversations 2021.
Yay! I brought a couple different coloring books and some watercolor pencils and my knowledge.
Awesome. Well, today I have some chunky 50/50 neon pencils that were gifted to me by a 12-year-old today.
That's great.
It was my Christmas gift. And I was like, oh, it was wrapped up. I thought it was going to be a candy bar or something. And he's like, no, they're pencils. I was like, oh, sweet. So they're like colored pencils.
That's great.
Yes. So, Jean, what's going on? How's your New Year's been? Or your New Year?
Pretty good, actually. A lot of formulating of what direction to take my entire business now that COVID is a part of our daily lives.
Nice. What's your business?
Well, I do a few different things. I make natural products from home under my company, kissbytheearth.com.
Oh, cool.
And we do all kinds of different natural home products. It really kind of came out of a relationship with the fact that I can't use anything you buy at Kroger's for shampoo, conditioner, soap I put on my skin, or my laundry. So I had to come up with alternatives for myself to my own personal health issues. And it kind of bore into this. Now I offer it for everyone, including natural makeup. So.
Wow. You make natural makeup too?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
That's impressive. That's what's up.
It has a short shelf life. There we go. That's like Sally sells, she sells. Anyway, it doesn't last long, but it's worth it because I can't use anything that has chemicals on my skin. So, certain things like, mascara, stuff like that I still want to wear to keep up with the Joneses, more or less.
Yeah.
I can do and do a replica of it that's all natural. So,
well, that's awesome. What made you want to get into producing that? Like, what inspired you to say, "Hey, I can actually do this"?
I'm one of those people, I like to research stuff. So I got into it and I just thought, this is kind of a cool thing that you could do in place of all these chemicals that are in these things. I didn't like the fact that I'm looking at my products and they're going, well, it's probably something you're using that's causing your health issues. And so as I'm looking at them and all the things that are in them that I couldn't pronounce, and I thought, well, your skin is like a giant organ and it absorbs a lot of what you put on it. So maybe that's part of it. And then I began to notice and put things together, like if I go into somebody's house and they're using Glade or Quick plugins, I can't be there for more than 5 minutes. I literally have to walk outside.
Wow.
It gives me migraines. I get vertigo. I literally get feelings of paranoia, like someone's watching me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's from the chemicals that are inside all that stuff. That most people think, oh, it just makes my house smell good. But in reality, there's a lot of crazy stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
do you
I
use
think that's kind of what bored.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I do. I use essential oils. I was just saying that's kind of what bore the whole concept of, let's see if we can make natural alternatives. And then once I started researching, I figured out it's not really that hard to make natural alternatives. If you have the time and you're willing to put the energy into it. So I essentially just did that for myself for a while, and then offered it to people because I also use doTERRA essential oils. So I had a community of people that were already kind of interested in natural approach. And to some extent that was helpful. But really, I think in my direction, I was just kind of wanting to provide something to people who didn't know about all that. To someone who was just walking into it like I was, going to the allergist and going, why am I feeling this way? And he couldn't answer it for a long time. So I'm one of those like rare zebra patients where it took them 12 years to give me a proper diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually had the disease before it had a code to be considered a diagnosis, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. But they've done a lot of research on a couple of the rare things that I have in my lifetime now. So at least there are some things that I can do now and things that I can take to give me a better quality of life. For a while there, I was kind of struggling because the whole quality of life thing was not getting good, and I was in a lot of pain. I have multiple chronic illnesses, and a couple of them are rare, and they really didn't want to address any of them. And there's like this big opioid crisis. So I top that off, when you're a chemical sensitive person, you can't take a whole lot of that kind of stuff anyway, because it makes you feel loopy or throw up for days. That was my unfortunate response. But it was one of those things where it was like I wanted an answer. Well, I found laughter yoga.
Laughter yoga.
And I found out, I found out through laughter yoga, you can alleviate 4 hours of pain by laughing for 15 minutes straight.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes up to 6 hours, depending on the individual.
Yeah.
And so it really became this inspiration of, pain puts you in a mindset that's not conducive to healing. It's very much this, I'm in pain, I don't want to be in pain. And it's just that, and you're complaining and you're whining and you're just in that low vibration because of it, especially when chronic pain hits you. And we're talking years of daily pain.
Yeah.
So, having the ability to just laugh on purpose for no reason to alleviate that pain kind of did the switch that I guess I needed, because it also altered my mind state. I was able to get out of that complain and kind of counterproductive mental state and get in a place where I truly could kind of compartmentalize it and deal with it in a lot more manageable way that was healthy,
Yeah.
So laughter yoga, though, truly is just part of it's laughing on purpose for no reason, for good health. There's also an undertone. Dr. Kataria is the gentleman who came up with the concept.
Yeah.
And it was back in 1995.
Okay.
And it was in India. And it was just a few, I don't know, it was like 10 different individuals, and they tried using comedy, and it worked really well for a while, but then it got a little raunchy. And they figured out that it needed to be not based on external stimuli, but just laughter. So they started to create exercises to promote laughter.
Nice.
So, it's kind of this beautiful dance of humor, but yet you're just really doing physical improv and producing a hilarious or laughter response from each other. And a lot of it's eye contact too. So even in this format, we do Zoom when we laugh together.
Yeah.
And we can still see each other. I mean, it looks like we're all the Brady Bunch, but you can at least have eye contact, right? And that's the thing that's beautiful, because it initiate smiling and laughter. And so it works really well to do laughter sessions that way.
Cool.
Even in COVID, right? So that's one thing that I really wanted to kind of begin to really implement this year and offer, even just at obviously at first for free, but then actual classes based on some of these topics for a small fee, like $20 or just a love donation.
Yeah.
Just simply to kind of keep the business rolling,
Gotcha. That is so cool. Because when I first spoke with you and you mentioned laughing yoga, and I was like, now that sounds something I could be really into. And I should probably learn about it, because like when I get stressed out, sometimes I go in the mirror and I make faces at myself. Like I did that all the time. Whenever I'd have a stressful job, which was many of them that I've had, I would go in the mirror at work, and if nobody was around in the bathroom, I would go to the bathroom and I would just contort my face and just do like the weirdest stuff until somebody came in, and I'd be like, act like I was like fixing my, because I didn't want to get anybody involved in my time, but like, I was like, but the laughing yoga, like that's just like, I mean, if you think about it, if somebody's laughing, laughter can be contagious, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the doctor that started all this back in the 90s, he was a regular MD that was doing studies on how laughter benefited health. And he kept it snowballed. It was one of those things he kept finding more and more things. It'll actually regulate your blood sugar and your blood pressure to laugh regularly and joyfully. Yeah. And the key, as Dr. Katari would say, is heartily, to where your whole diaphragm and your whole core is involved, because it truly is like an exercise. So, and you're getting your heart rate up a little bit, and it's cardiovascular.
It is. So it's not just like a passive, it's like a more robust.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they started out simple with clapping and chanting, like ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Just to get people warmed up and oriented with each other and comfortable with the eye contact, and it definitely initiates a happy response. And there's I'd say probably 400 or 500 known laughter exercises that have been created by either laughter yoga leaders or teachers, master trainers, Dr. Katari himself. They even do a Bali laughter yoga where it is ho, ho, ha, 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 and you're belly dancing to laughter yoga. So it's really just blossomed into this huge movement, really, to get worldwide both awareness and just involvement, because you're looking at trying to erase anger and create world peace through laughter. That's really what the whole drive of that movement is.
Nice.
So it's kind of a beautiful thing. Yeah. So I went and got myself licensed, October 20th of 2019 is the date on my license.
Nice.
And I'm a laughter yoga leader. And so you can go and get certified through Dr. Kataria. When you become a teacher or a master teacher, then you can actually train other laughter yoga leaders. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of like a tiering in that. But truly, I just wanted to get involved, actually teach it to others. And that was really my drive. I felt that it really kind of went very much in line with the whole natural solutions and looking at holistic health as much as we can anyway,
mm-hmm. Man, so you've been doing that during the pandemic, and has that helped you with?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think I ever would have taken on homeschooling my 13-year-old this month if it weren't for my laughter yoga practice. I definitely feel like I can face the challenge and not be anxious or stressed out or worried. I can focus more. And I've learned kind of how to laugh at myself more and not care about what other people think about me, really.
Nice.
It's kind of changed the whole way I look at the world in some ways. So my teacher, once I got involved as a laughter yoga leader, is Dave Berman, and he is also a laughter yoga teacher. But what I was training under with him was not laughter yoga. It was much more based in the subtractive psychology realm. And so that's a fairly new term.
Yeah.
And basically, there's a writer named Jamie Smart. He's from the UK. He's written a couple books. One's called Results. One's called Clarity. And I believe he just released another one as well. He's even offered like small snippets of each of those books in like the Little Book of Clarity and the Little Book of Results kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it covers the basis on the overall principles of subtractive psychology, but it also goes over 3 principles that Sydney Banks made popular. So the 3 principle concept is that we are all essentially one. That's the main principle of the 3 principles. That even though we all have our own unique souls, we are all one in the sense that the Holy Spirit all resides within us, or however you want to look at that from your own religion terms, we all are connected inside ourselves. And so coming from that umbrella, it also kind of takes away a lot of the feel like we should judge each other or that judgment should even be there, because it talks about how we're all born with what we already need to be like okay and to survive in this world when we're born. Like, we're given all the tools we'll ever need. We just have to take them out and utilize them as we need them. So it kind of comes at psychology in like the exact opposite way that we're taught psychology is. Like, there's a mental malady. Because if you think of the fact that we're not lacking anything, then there should be no real maladies. It's just simply a different way of thinking about things. So it takes away a lot of stigma off of mental health. And it also gives us an opportunity to look at things from a point of view of, well, that perception may be causing them to appear to be schizophrenic. But in reality, if they were able to have a paradigm shift of that perception, then they would no longer be schizophrenic. And that's kind of the basis at the very core of what subtractive psychology is. It's really interesting to me because I went through a bout of like counseling and cognitive behavioral therapy like my whole life. And it kind of just took what I already felt was the problem with that whole little world and solved it for me all in one representation. And the nice thing about subtractive psychology is that there's so many applications to the way you can look at things that are different to give you that new open perspective on things, to where you can really omit judgment and worry and anxiety and depression, because it's simply just a way of policing our thoughts, our stream of consciousness. It's just kind of, it's flowing. Like, it's like the ocean, it's coming and it's going like waves. But we can choose which of the thoughts to pull out and believe and embody and listen to. And if those thoughts aren't necessarily something that serves our higher self, then we can disregard those. So some of it's almost like a different way of teaching yourself mental discernment, if that makes any sense. And as a person who's had both anxiety and depression, and I even at one point had thoughts of suicide when I was younger, to have it all represented to me in this totally different way while looking at everything as a laugh at yourself, it's okay, we make mistakes, move on mentality, it really kind of just opened up a whole way of looking at the world that was vastly different than what was shoved down my throat at school,
That is so neat, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
I really dig that, because I feel like what you were saying about us all being one, like, that's the truth. You know what I mean? We all have our differences or whatnot, but at the same time, we're all a creation, and we're all one as hippy dippy as they might sound or whatnot, like we literally are one. And it's sad when there's like, you know, when people feel like they can't figure out what's going on with themselves, you know what I mean? Or they can't find the right thing for them, but then you have somebody saying, well, this is what you need to think, you know what I mean? Or this is exactly why you feel that. I mean, it's difficult. It presents a lot of difficulty.
Well, so you just brought up one of the principles, which is called separate reality.
Separate reality.
So we all live in the same reality, right? I mean, I'm here, you're there, but we're in the same now, right? But separate reality gives you the concept of the way I think and perceive things and bring things into the world and then output them is going to be different than the way you do or the way he does. And so it's really cool that it gives space for that individuality, because we all are individual people with different perceptions and thoughts and feelings and, you know, separate realities in the now, right? And so it gives space for that understanding that, you know, we all are inherently good as well. So if we're all looking and seeking to do good unto each other, you know, good to ourselves, and that's the undertone, then you can give that space for, again, just a non-judgmental observance of life. But I think really for me, laughing like this has kind of created more of I want to be more present in the now. I don't spend as much time on my phone. I'm more in something that's in the now, like drawing, you know, something that, yeah, exactly. Something that I can like actually turn around and go, ooh, that's done, you know, and get that feeling of accomplishment. Right, yeah. Even if it's dishes, right?
Laundry, dishes, crayons, you know.
And that's something we all strive to have, right? Like the little sticker at the end of the day that says, good job, you know? Yeah. Like Laughter Yoga says, very good, yay! So every time you do a laughter exercise, that's the congratulations you get.
That is so cool. So it's like, very good, yay!
Yay! Yep. It's promoting that upbeat, vibrant, you know, vibration. We're vibrating very high at that level, you know. It's created much more of a spirituality in me, because I'm able to get myself to a point where I realize, oh, that pain's creeping in and my thoughts aren't in a good place, but I can right out of them. And so a lot of times I will go somewhere. I will do what you said. I'll get in the mirror and just make funny faces, or I'll go crack a joke or whatever. Just go outside and just start laughing for no reason. And it's a really good icebreaker. It's a really good way for me to feel comfortable outside of my comfort zone. And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll anchor it. So as I'm laughing, I'll just do a little NLP technique called anchoring, where you grab a hold of the energy and the laughter at that time. And then later on, and it doesn't matter which finger, you know, you just anchor it in so that later on you can pull it back out, you know. Obviously, we also need to have feelings and feel grief and loss and all the things that make us human, right? But it gave me a beautiful little breather, a little space. And in some ways it's hypnotic. So if you're trying to break habits that aren't necessarily good for you or don't serve your highest self, that's all something that you can do by just, you know, laughter and affirmations. So it's really kind of a wonderful way to effectively create change in your life without beating yourself up. And that's one of the things that I struggled with most of my adult life, was effectively creating change but not like beating myself up when I didn't hit that mark or I didn't, I don't know, achieve that goal that week, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I really like that, because I feel like sometimes we place so many expectations on ourselves. Like, I have to complete this much stuff by this amount of time. And I think for me, a lot of it came from, like, even in school, it's like, okay, read chapters 1 through 5 and be prepared to talk about them tomorrow. And it's like, this is a deadline. Deadlines freak me out even as a kid. And so I would just like put the book down and not even start it, like stuff like that. And I'm like, wait, I have to go. Wait, okay. And so it was like just a lot of pressure. I remember at that age, but just feeling like, okay, especially now with this pandemic situation we're going through, there's been just a lot of time to just figure out what to do next. And sometimes I feel like from what I've heard from other people, it's kind of like you're just dangling in the air and you're like, so I'm here. I woke up. Okay. I have a meeting. I got bills still, but then I gotta go to the store, but I gotta grab the mask first. Okay. And then, it's like, you're just kind of floating into this, like, you don't know exactly what to do first. It's a lot. It can be a lot.
I like how you said that. My son and I, we've been talking about, he plays Fortnite on the video games on PS4, and I always loved when you went to concerts and there was that dude that was like floating airman, and he kind of does that, like, it looks like he has no back or spine, Yeah. And I would attend a lot of the last part of this last year to that.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's just like, I don't know where my spine is. Like, I don't know what's going on, but here I am taking all the punches and floating with it,
Yeah. Here I am eating another box of cookies. Like, I'm hungry. Let me buy brownies and eat them all in one day. Like,
I was so glad when I found gluten-free brownies at Aldi's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, that's something to celebrate. It's a good thing.
Right? Little things. Absolutely. Yeah, I think just having the ability to just laugh at life too, and just go, well, I'm still here, and we're still kicking, and things are still going,
Keeps rolling,
Right? At least we're getting some kind of social interaction this way, and not completely like holed up in our houses.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I wanted to do something like this, and also just even reading stories. Like, when I do story time, like, it's still interaction. And it's like kind of, goofy entertainment, but it's fun. And it can kind of like just, bring a little mental stimulation when you're having a conversation with someone. And if you're drawing and doing art, I know with me, I concentrate better when I'm doodling than when I'm not. And people can tell me something and I will remember it much better than if I'm not like doodling. I've noticed that, like, it helps me focus better. So that's something I have been just practicing more of.
That's good. Well, you're opening your creative side of your brain as you're doing that. So you're in a receiving mode, as opposed to like I'm in a speaking mode, and a lot of what I was learning from Dave was more about the subtractive psychology and laughing on purpose. He did hypnotherapy before he became a laughter yoga leader and teacher as well. So that was one of the things that I thought was really kind of interesting, the way it combines itself. And he wrote a book called Laughnosis with another gentleman. And it specifically deals with like how laughter is hypnotic. So I kind of dived into the whole hypnosis world, I guess 2 Februaries ago. I went and got hypnotized by a woman in Batavia. Her name is Nicole Jeffries, and she has a company called Hypnotic Wellness Solutions.
Oh, okay.
And she hypnotized me to quit smoking because I've been a 26-year tobacco smoker, right?
Uh-huh.
And she hypnotized me February 22nd of 2019, or 2018. No, 2018. No, 19 would be right. That'd be 2 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I tripped out there for a minute. But anyway, February 22nd is the 2-year mark for me for no cigarettes. And the first couple of weeks were really hard. I still called her a couple times, and was like, help me out. I don't want to grab one. But I made it, and I feel so much better. Like I can smell better, just overall, like I just feel better. So I'm really glad that I did that, and it really opened my eyes to how you can do something like that and truly change a really bad ingrained behavior to kind of honor your higher self a little more. So that just kind of became my plight the last couple of years, is to just do things that honor my higher self more, mm-hmm. and try to ixnay the thoughts that don't serve it, because I had a lot of that stinking thinking, especially when I was younger. And I've noticed a lot of people who also have dealt with a lot of trauma in their life have that problem too. So it's a nice way to be able to just snap out of that into a good, better 21-day habit, right? Than the toxicity that I was spewing there with the complaining and the overall just not loving myself. And people would even say, oh, you can love yourself better. And at the time when I was in that mindset, I didn't see how I was loving myself. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I learned these behaviors and these options that I had that was like, there's such a different way to think. And just because a thought's there doesn't mean you have to believe it, and you can just ignore it. And it was like all this world just opened up for me. Like, I don't have to fly by my emotions kind of thing either. I don't know. I would have never thought that just laughing more every day would put me in such a perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, you think, well, it'll just make you happier at least, right? But this kind of made me contemplate every area of my life a little bit, and what I was allowing into my mental space. Whether it be healthy or not. And that really has changed my life in a lot of ways. It's been almost 2 years since I've really had anxiety. I've worried about a few things financially here and there this last year. Mm-hmm. But somehow God's just provided. So to be really honest, I think more than anything, I've just built my faith more. Because I'm finally leaning on that understanding that it's okay, he's got us. Like, it's going to work out, and then it just does. So I have this other book I've been reading, thanks to this gentleman, Dave Berman, I'm talking up. It's called Pronoia. And it's how the universe conspires to provide us blessings every day on our behalf. And it's I don't know, 1,000 some odd pages long. I've got it in the other room.
What's the name of it again?
Pronoia.
Pronoia. Okay.
His name is Rob Bresney, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only part of the way through it. But it definitely goes in line with these same teachings that I've been made aware of. And I love the concept that the universe is conspiring on everyone's behalf, because I kind of feel like when we all are right with ourselves and in alignment completely, and we project, affirmations or gratitude or desires out into the universe. I kind of believe in that whole, the secret that it does come back, that it's a like attract like world. So if you're constantly like putting out happiness, then that's what you should receive back in threefold. So if you could just share joy with someone every day, then wouldn't you want that to be like your ultimate goal? So I think that's kind of what brought me more towards laughter yoga and that whole concept, because it did so many things to change my perspective of life and my overall like quality and happiness level, because truly you are the only person that can make yourself happy. In the all of alls, like, and nobody's going to be happy all the time, because that's only like a state that you're in the now when you're feeling that joy,
Yeah.
But you can be full of a peace and a joy all the time. And that was something that I was like, whoa, really? Okay, let's cultivate that. Like let's make that the focus, because I guess I'd had plenty of like sadness in my life. And then of course this year, I mean, we faced a lot of like just major shifts and changes like to everything, our whole cultural way of being. And I just like remember feeling a few times like I just wanted to surrender it all. Like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to enact my control in a situation that obviously you're taking control over, right? So you take it. It's yours. And I don't know, I was able to be at such a peace when I felt that a lot of people were just kind of doing the alpha dance or whatever. The air guy dance, like, what do I do? And I'm like, that's all right. Somebody's got it. It's not me. So leaning on that whole understanding of being one also is part of that, I definitely think it's a great way to just take some of the worry out that I thought I had to have, I guess, being adult, like the whole adulting thing,
It's overrated.
Like I just realized, like, you don't have to worry as an adult. Like, you can give that over to someone, You can just say, hey, it's not mine. I give it right back, because it was never my control anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I actually offer weddings and funerals and basically anything a minister would offer in the state of Ohio. So I'm actually licensed like by Ohio to do marriages, but I also have my ministry through the Universal Life Church. Oh. But I'm basically like non-denominational Christian, like I'm not standing on some like religious platform. I'm just basically claiming that, what, I realize that there's a power greater than us, and that power is what I feel like in a lot of ways I tap into when I laugh so long like that. So that kind of gives you an idea of why, like, people are like, I get that you want to be fun and have fun, and I don't know. I guess when you learn how to fester on thoughts that aren't good for you, and then you learn how to fester on thoughts that could like multiply goodness in your life, you kind of realize like there's something to all this. It kind of reminds me of that whole like, why do they call words spelling, or why is it called spelling? And it's because the words are spells in a sense. What you say has power and meaning, and if you're believing that little voice that says you're not good enough, then that's gonna come to you in a nasty way if you continue to believe it. Whether it's really true or not, it's all about whether you gave it attention, right? So I don't know, like I've seen this help a lot of people. I've been laughing with people every day for a couple of years now. And I've seen once you get into like a 30-day habit of this, and I'm talking 15 minutes once a day of just hearty, like, so then you gotta, or you're like, oh, remember to breathe, right? and that's just simply rewiring things to where you can kind of gain a little observant perspective, you know, and back some off of the thoughts that don't serve you as well. And not everybody that I've laughed with catches on to that like that, but I'd say a majority of people within the first 30 days are like, I just feel so much happier overall. I sleep better. I don't argue with my spouse as much. That's another big one you hear. Gosh, overall, I just don't seem to fret or worry, or spend much time beating myself up or caring what other people think. And slowly, that all kind of just shakes off for a lot of people if they practice up. But I notice, like, even myself, even doing this every day, you don't keep your practice up for even just a couple days, and other thoughts can creep in that aren't necessarily healthy. You'd be like, oh, I haven't seen one of you in days. No. Bye-bye. You gotta go. You know? So it's just, it's interesting the way you can really work with it to where you keep things light, but you're still achieving a better perspective, you know, on things.
Nice. Yeah. So if there's anybody, like, there might be people out there who aren't really familiar with, you know, setting affirmations for themselves. What would you tell people that aren't really familiar and they don't know really where to start and as far as setting positive affirmations for themselves?
Gotcha. Well, I know you can get online and literally nowadays they've got, you know, life coaches that'll give you all kinds of different PDFs that you could even print out where you could offer out certain set ones. But I found that the ones that are more specific to what you're working on and you write yourself, you formulate yourself, tend to work better because they're personal. I've used a lot of generic ones before, and if they don't really touch a nerve or hit the major point you're trying to work on, it's like, I don't know, it's like just fluff. So I would suggest making it specific to whatever it is that you're wanting to work on. For me, I was using a lot of cuss words. I cuss like a sailor. Most people who know me know I like to drop the F-bomb like it ain't nothing. And I slang a lot. I think it comes from the fact that I have a large vocabulary. So when I don't talk slang, I overspeak people, and that's rude in my opinion. Like, if you don't know what I'm saying and I'm not able to like put it in simpler terms or use a word that's not as eloquent or something, then that's rude, you know? So I don't know, maybe that kind of stems from that, but yeah, I don't know. Like, overall, I think writing your own is definitely the most helpful advice. I did it specifically to being in the now. So I actually make myself rebuke any cuss words I say now.
Wow.
It takes a lot of time and energy to rebuke your statements. And you get to the point where you laugh at yourself and you realize that I just need to quit saying this as much because I'm wasting my energy. So, I don't know. Sometimes I still spit one out, you know, I stub my toe and, you know, stuff like that. But then I still got to turn around and I rebuke that statement. Sorry.
That's a strong word too. You're rebuking.
Yeah. Well, words can be curses, and words can also, lift someone up, rise someone from the dead or whatever, like they can do whatever, but it's all in how you use them. And so I guess as a younger person, I was like, oh, I want to be cool. I want to cuss like all these sailors and all these people because I'm not allowed to cuss. And I don't know. It just became a thing, And then I realized through all this that really, I mean, if I didn't want those words in my life, then I shouldn't be saying them so much. Mm. And that was kind of like a wake up, like, okay, I definitely don't want the F you in my life. Nobody wants that to come to them. So maybe we'll just listen and just be quiet.
So this is like also like holding yourself accountable too, which I think
is
difficult,
Yeah, and I used to do that, but then like beat myself up for not doing it or not being effective at it. And now I literally point my fingers at myself and laugh at myself. And if it's a really good one, it might end with that. Who knows? But overall, I'm not taking it too hard, but I'm taking it to heart.
So what other things do you do besides laughing, yoga, and of course, I mean, you're into art as well. Are there any other interests that you're utilizing right now? Any hobbies or anything like that?
I make a lot of diffuser jewelry since I do the essential oils. Mm-hmm. So I also wire wrap stones. So I've always kind of been into crystals and stones and just any really natural healing modalities. In fact, I looked into maybe even getting some Reiki under my belt. I haven't done that yet. Mm-hmm. But I do know, like, through doTERRA, they do, like, the Aroma-touch technique and Symphony of the Cells, which is, like, laying on of oils on the body. One is with light touch massage, and the other one is literally just for health benefits. So I got into that, and the crystals really are kind of an extension of that too. But I found that I'm just a sensitive individual. So I wear a hematite ring every day to help ground me. And it really does help ground me. I noticed I really didn't know how to ground myself. So that's helped as well, being someone that's like all emotion, and very creative. I needed that kind of left brain ground.
I feel you.
So I do. I wear my own diffuser jewelry every day, and I wear stones, that I wrap too. So it's basically the extension of what I use in my life. I offer to others. Really, the art is kind of just more for like you said, it's therapeutic. I can sit here and talk to someone and, doodle, color, whatever, and have a blast. Just using that outlet, right?
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah. I'd have to say mostly just the whole natural products thing was more just because I feel like not everybody's got the time to make natural makeup or, sit down and whip a bunch of body dirt or any of those other things. And there's really only a few local companies that offer that. Mm-hmm. I also do flower essences and like herbal tisanes for teas.
Oh, nice.
And I do like other herbal offerings. So for me, I kind of felt like the essential oils are great for some applications, right? But they're not wholly sustainable. So a lot of my tisanes have actual wild forage harvested locally herbs that are part of them. So it's definitely not just stuff we're growing here at the homestead, but stuff that would grow, in any wild area in Ohio. So that's been an extension of something that I've cared about probably since my first job. I worked at Cincinnati Natural Foods in Madeira in the early 90s. And they had a deli at one point. So they were offering some vegetarian and some just overall more healthy food at their deli. And then they had like a whole grocery with organic fruits and vegetables and supplements. And I kind of learned that whole world pretty early on. Which was fortuitous, really, for me, considering that I had to actually now eat that way, live that way by default with my health. So I don't know, maybe it was like a good alignment. I don't know. I'll call it pronoia. The universe was conspiring me with blessings. So I just went with it, and I felt like if this is something I know this much about, that somebody eventually will want to learn too. We have 3 acres here in Brown County, and we're right up on Lake Grant Wildlife Area. So we've got tons of beautiful natural scenery, but I also have plenty of land to grow on. So we started an herbal garden last year, and most of the teas and have mints and other herbal remedies from that that we grew. In fact, the toothache tincture was from a plant that I grew here. And it's as simple as, you take the flower and stem and part of the leaves of the plant, put them in a big ball jar, and add vodka. And you shake it, let it sit for a couple weeks with it, and then you take it all and basically like press it with a cheesecloth, get all the actual plant matter out, and then what you're left with is a tincture. And then you 1-to-1 that with distilled water, and that's what is offered as my toothache tincture. And it's made with a plant that literally gives you the numb feeling like clove oil does. But for people who don't like clove oil and the whole intensity of clove in your mouth, it's a really nice alternative. But it gives you antiviral and antibacterial, microbial effects. So if you have any kind of like a canker sore, mouth sore, anything like that, you can use it on it. And it's an older remedy that we utilized probably through the 16, 17, and 1800s here in the United States. You just don't see many people doing that kind of stuff anymore. So I kind of felt like, we have medicine in nature everywhere. Why not offer people a way to learn how to do that still? Because with, this kind of stuff going on with COVID, at some point, we may not have the ability to make chemical, pharmaceutical stuff, and we may have to lean on the natural that's available. And how many people, even just locally in the state of Ohio, know what kind of plants that would be, or what those properties are. So I thought, why not take all that knowledge about things that I have and just put it to my own use? So that's pretty much the umbrella of what I've been doing.
Nice. Do you have any questions for Jean?
Do you know Patrick Wellage?
He's actually who I did my laughter yoga leader class through. Yeah. So Patrick taught, I think, 10 or 15 of us that weekend.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Yeah, he's a wonderful man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys know Skylar too, don't you?
Skylar Sorry.
Yep. He was in that same weekend class with me.
Yeah, he lives in Hawaii now, huh?
Isn't that awesome? I saw that. I was like, well, aloha. Aloha. Yeah, seriously, I'd love to see that. That's the one state that's on my bucket list. With my health issues, I'm pretty much United States bound or first world country bound, as my doctor put it. I'm like, that's a little, like, I wanted to call it racist, but I guess that's not really what it is. Snobbish, maybe? I don't know.
So, Jean, where can people find information about your products and your classes? Do you have a website or social media handles or anything?
Yeah. Kissbytheearth.com is my website.
Okay.
And you'll find all my products that I offer there. I do like custom salt rubs. I do custom barbecue blends. I do all kinds of like custom jewelry too. So basically it'd just be like contact me and let me know how you want it customized and go through that whole thing, which is kind of neat. So with the crystals and whatnot, it's pretty much like I sit down with people and I do a wellness consult and I'll ask them like, what kind of issues are you having? Are you having insomnia? Are you having, what's going on health-wise, And so we look at the whole picture, much like a holistic doctor would. And then we look at what we could do to offer you a way to get yourself in alignment. Your mind, body, spirit connection needs to be strong and in alignment. So I'll look at, is there essential oils that I could use would fit that need? Is there crystals that you could wear that would help with blocking negativity, or something as simple as promoting positivity, or, whatever. So it kind of gives me an opportunity to show what I can do in the way of, here's your needs, let's address them directly. Because as with anything, like with the affirmations, if it's specific to what you're wanting to work on and specific to what's going on with you, as we all have our own separate realities, we just basically want to address that, So you can get a hold of me either on the website or just kissbytheearth@google.com, and let me know what that is. And I do like a free 30-minute thing, and we could do it via Zoom since, there's really not a whole lot of face-to-face right now. So there's lots of options. Yeah.
Nice. That is so cool. I'm so glad that I was able to link up with you, because this has been really fun. Like, I love learning about just you, because I don't think I've ever actually met you before. I don't think I have. Like in person.
Not in person, I don't think. I don't know if you've been to like some of the functions that I've been to maybe, or I don't know. Did you ever do any of the tonic functions in Dayton or Cincinnati?
No, there was a lady named Eden Spore that came to Cincinnati. She came to Urban Artifact. That was about almost 3 years ago. And that's when I first learned about tinctures and stuff like that. I think her name is Eden Spore. I have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. She traveled around, so she wasn't from here. So she came to Urban Artifact in Cincinnati. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. We just probably know the same people.
Yeah,
and now we know each other, which is great.
I'll do a shout out. There's a couple ladies, 2 women running a store up in Morrow in the Arts Center. Mm-hmm. And they both do flower essences, tinctures, other types of bitters, and older medicine that's herbal like that. Yeah. And they teach like an herbal learning series, how to make incense. Yes.
I know them.
Gracious Farms. Crystal Judge and Gracious Farms. Mm-hmm. And that's graciousfarms.net. That's her website. And then Lindsay Hastings, she's the Green Feather Homestead. Oh. Yeah. They have a place together. I think they're calling it Grateful Living Co-op, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And I may, they've been offering it as a co-op, so I may end up teaching classes at that location too. Oh, wow. I'm kind of trying to put feelers out. Like, do people want to do things on YouTube or Zoom, or how can I somehow create at least enough income to keep the business open while doing classes, So it's still up in the air how that's going to all work out. But for now, I've just been trying to utilize Zoom as much as possible to get the word out. The website went live in December, so it's still pretty new. But it gives a good background on like the herbal tinctures, what's a tisane. There's actually 5 different kinds of tisanes, and I guarantee not everybody's even heard of all of them. Usually the herbal and floral ones are the most popular, but there's even grain tisanes that you can do. So it's definitely more old medicine, I guess you could say, or back to nature, that I kind of focused on with a lot of that. I do still sell doTERRA stuff, but I have not found that a whole lot of people were truly into that. And I've gotten a lot of flack over the MLM aspect of that. But truly, I've utilized essential oils for almost 30 years of my life. And I have a disease called mast cell activation that causes a lot of people with that disease to be very weary of essential oils because we're allergic to a lot of weird, rare things. The list of things I'm allergic to is probably 10 times as long as the list of things I'm not. But I got lucky in the sense that there's only a couple oils that they sell that I can't use. And therapeutic wise, my body does really well with natural options, even better than a lot of the stuff that's over the counter. So I think just the drive of the effectivity of it all was a big part of this. You know, the fact that for me, all the natural stuff is working and not giving me side effects, where the other stuff was maybe sort of helping, but I felt like I was smearing Band-Aid and it just wasn't covering it. And then there were times where I'd go to use something that most people could use over the counter, and well, if it's got a petroleum byproduct in it, I'm covered in hives the next day. So it was like this weird, like I had to figure something out to bridge that gap for myself. And I thought, if I could just alleviate one person from having to stress over that in any way, that was cool. Because I went probably 10 years going, I don't even know what to do. Like, I have to use soap on my skin.
Yeah, that's a necessity.
The only thing that's worked for so long has been Dr. Bronner's Castile soap. That's been my saving grace.
The peppermint, do you use the peppermint?
Oh, I have, yes. I like, which is funny, this is going to sound really funny, I like the hemp and almond, but I'm allergic to almonds.
Oh, wow.
It's the only thing that's got almonds in it in the whole freaking world that I can use. Go figure. And it's like, oh, I love the smell and everything because I can't have almonds. I can't look at almonds, but it doesn't take away the fact that I grew up eating them, and So, yeah, I'd say laughter and hypnosis has definitely helped a lot of this because you grow up to be, 27 and have no clue about any of this except certain things you eat, you throw up, and okay, that's obviously not something, but then as they started to give me the full list of everything to avoid, and then that just kept growing and growing. Like 2 years ago, it got huge because of the mast cell diagnosis, to where it was like, well, my grandma looked at me and said, I just want to know what you can eat. Not all the things that you're not I don't need to know that.
What can you actually?
I'm like, well, yeah. So I did like an elimination diet, and I figured out I can't do gluten or dairy or my hot wings or nightshades or tomatoes. You name it, like I could just keep going. I'm not supposed to have dog or cats or a wood burner in my house.
You got a cat. I saw a fluffy white cat earlier. So
Great cats. One thing I learned about all this is that you can create a tolerance in some things. If you just say, no, I'm not getting rid of my animals. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting ride, and very grateful that I have things like laughter, to thwart the frustrations of not knowing what was wrong with me for 12 years, not having a clue that the food I was eating was doing part of what it was doing to me, or any of the stuff that was going on. They couldn't put their finger on it. So yeah. Now it's gotten easier. They're getting better about like diagnosing people and picking up on it, and they're getting kids where they're young to where they can actually do something positive for them, which is great. In all honesty, I'd love to see Western medicine take to heart all of the abilities that it has and like actually test people when they're born, like their food intolerances and their allergies, and like more than just the basic blood tests like type, and get down in there. I mean, if they did that and people live their lives from that place of understanding, right, at the beginning, and they knew that they had to avoid things in their diet and all of that, how better of a quality of life we could have, and maybe how much longer we could all live. It really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things being in that world so much, and kind of having to be like my own doctor in some ways, Made me very inquisitive and very good researcher. You don't know? Well, I'll figure it out.
You gotta play the sleuth for yourself sometimes. You gotta figure it out, Sometimes you gotta investigate and research on your own, and it takes a lot of work sometimes, but when you get down to the bottom of it, I think it's pretty worth it, eh?
I do too. Because overall, you can be your authentic self more. You can say you honestly did everything you could for yourself. Stand in your own power a little bit, because a lot of being sick, you feel like your power's taken away from you. Chronically ill, especially for that long, you're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I don't know what I'm doing right, and they obviously don't know what's going on, but I know I'm not healthy, So yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think a lot of it for me was just kind of, here's some healthy ways to deal with what life handed you, and I just kept finding more and more things like that. And I got to say, laughter in general has just been the beat all. Because, if in doubt, laugh it out, like,
I like that. You should have a t-shirt made with that on there,
If in doubt, laugh it out.
I'd buy it,
It's better than that big sunshine face, right?
Yeah.
That have a nice day that was so popular.
Yeah, I remember like, I think they were like tie-dye shirts with like the big yellow smiley face on them. I was like, that's cool. I think when in doubt, laugh it out would be a winner. I think that'd be a winner.
Yeah, there's a few little sayings like that go around the laughter yoga community that really just kind of proclaim, how simple things are. We all kind of, as adults, I think, try to just overcomplicate life, and just as simple as it is to draw out a picture, right? Is as simple as we could make life or have life if we desire, right?
Speaking of drawing, let me see your picture before I wrap up. I want to show you mine. I want to see your picture too during our conversation. Oh, neat. Is that a sea turtle?
Yeah. Back to nature.
Nice. And me, I just did like a freehand.
I like that.
I'm going to just start with shapes and just kind of go with the flow, just let go.
That almost reminds me of like a sweat lodge teepee. Like we're inside the sweat lodge teepee. That's great. I'm ready.
Oh, cool. I've never been to one, so now I know.
Oh, well, March. if you're really interested, about a couple miles from Serpent Mound, they are doing a sweat lodge, I believe, in March. Yeah. She does a couple different things every year, but with COVID, it's like nothing's open right now. Yeah. I was going to take my mom to the Crumb Conservatory, and it's closed indefinitely.
Oh, fun.
I got on their website. I was all excited because she's like, well, I think you have to pay. And I'm like, I think it's just a donation. Yeah. So I'm like, let's look. And since November of last year, they're closed indefinitely. So I did see there's a conservatory that's up in Franklin County near Columbus that's like 80 acres outside. And they're still open. So we may do a homeschool field trip and go up there and do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's been the fun new endeavor. Starting a new business and then a month later starting to homeschool your teenager.
I can only imagine. That's
it's fun. Khan Academy's been a big help. And there's a couple other homeschooling things online that have really helped. And we're trying to work on getting him a scholarship to help with tutoring because he was on an IEP for reading. So hopefully we can kind of transition that nicer. But yeah, so far so good. I think he likes it more. He's like, so I can tell you what I'm interested in learning and we can learn it. I'm like, yeah, buddy. He's like, really? All right. So his mind's doing a little paradigm shift of its own. And he's starting to see that, learning can be fun when it's about what you want to learn about, but I still have to kind of rein him in on the things that we have to learn about. So I'm like, thank you so much for laughter and the whole laughter yoga thing, because while he doesn't appreciate it, it's keeping me from going insane. So I'll take it.
That is so cool. Well, Jean, thank you so much for zooming in with me for Crayonversation. This was fun. And we'll have to link up again soon because this is fun. You're like a wealth of some really interesting knowledge and experience, and nice. I'm really grateful that you took time out. And with all the rescheduling I had to do, I'm so sorry.
No, we both did. Yeah. I have weird flares of my chronic disease, and it's like I never know when that's going to happen. But just, you roll with it.
Yeah.
Right? Just roll with it. It was awesome getting to know you, hon. And yeah, absolutely. We can do multiple conversations if you like. I got more turtle to draw, so.
I love it. Cool. So I'll get your website and everything, and I'll make sure to put it on the screen when I edit the video and everything. Just to make sure that we have a caption of your name and your contact info and your business and everything. So I think that'd be real cool to share with everybody.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Definitely.
Not a problem at all. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, spark some joy.
Why not? All right, so I'll end this with saying like a yay, 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 yay.
That's right.
Nice. Well, don't be a stranger, and I look forward to linking up with you soon.
All right, sounds great, hon. Mwah!
Bye.
Not even